I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com. Follow along on Twitter and Instagram at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations, and I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. I am honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello. Welcome to episode 62 of Wise Advice. We're getting up there, counting them up. So 61 are in the book. This is episode 62. Again, I'm honored to do this. This is a fun opportunity for us to connect. I'm working on a different format of the show, and I'm looking to transition into once a week doing an interview with whoever you guys want me to highlight. So still continue to do the daily show. That's not going to change, but I figure on the weekends we'll mix it up and give you, a much longer episode on the weekend to kind of digest. And so I got a post on Connect currently that asks, who would you want to hear from? And what would you ask them? Because that's kind of important too, right? So who would you like to hear from? Well, what would you ask them? Go to my post on Connect and do a tag there and answer it so I know where to go, which direction to take it. Got a couple ideas floating around, and then I saw a lot of the replies quickly came out, and I agreed with many of them. And there's a couple new that popped in that are people I hadn't seen before, so that was very encouraging to see, to be able to follow new people too. So I'm working on making the show financially independent, so I could really use your help there. Go to fatdag.com, click listen now. There's 3 opportunities for you to provide support if you're inclined to do so. Otherwise, let's dig in. Emily says out of Bowling Green, hi, FatDag. My name is Emily, and I'm 24 years old. I started Weight Watchers for the billionth time in March of 2017, joining to support my friend at work. I really didn't take it seriously for the first month or so until I had 3 weeks in a row where my weight went up. At that third weigh-in, I was 3 pounds away from weighing 300 pounds. I distinctly remember telling myself in college that I would never let myself weigh more than 200, and here I am almost in the next century. That's when I really woke up. I became an active Connect reader and eventually poster, found your podcast, and tracked every single thing. Here I am 7 weeks later, down 9.8 pounds from my starting weight and 11.4 pounds down from my highest. I am on a roll, and I will not stop. You are a daily inspiration to me, and I really cannot thank you enough for your mantras that I think to myself all day long. My question is this. I am a big supporter of the body positive movement. I firmly believe that nobody should be shamed or feel bad because of their weight. But then here I am, actively trying to change my weight because I don't like it. I feel oddly ashamed that I say, love yourself at any size, at the same time as I don't love myself, so I'm changing me. Do you have any insight on how I can reconcile these conflicting thoughts? Thanks again for your inspiring words, Emily. Emily, first of all, thank you for writing in, and you're right. That's a conflict that we absolutely wrestle with, and I think a lot of people can exactly understand what you're going through and can resonate with that. I'm a big fan of the body positive movement because that's what got me to gold, believe it or not. There came a point where, just like you, I joined Weight Watchers a handful of times, maybe not a billion like you, but 5 or 6 anyways. But every time I rejoined at a higher weight. And it got frustrating every time, that humiliation I felt when I walked into the room, knowing that I was heavier than the time before. Knowing that I looked worse than I did the time before, it really messed with my brain. And so I didn't love myself at that size. And when I say that, I mean, to some extent I did. I was pretty happy. I was generally a good, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. But deep down, there was some pain and some shame hidden in there. So as I worked on my program, as I worked on myself, there came a point in my journey before I joined for the very last time. There came a point where, just like you are now, I owned it. And I said, I'm going to love myself no matter what size I am. And that's when I started taking a lot more selfies, because I said, this is who I am. This is what the rest of the world sees. I need to be comfortable with that. There's no sense in hiding it. There's no sense in denying it. It was me saying, this is who I am. And at that point, I became much more engaged in the process, much more willing to make the change. So I definitely took the photos, and I would share them on Facebook. And just because I was just trying to prove to myself that I do love myself at this size. At the same time, I wanted to be healthy. At the same time, I knew, even though I loved myself at a larger size, I knew I could continue to love myself if I lost weight. And I knew I could take care of my body, and I knew I could do myself a good service by taking care of it. So there's no shame in loving yourself at any size that you are, and there's no shame at that point saying, I also want to make a change. You can do both. You absolutely can do both, and I think it's critical that you do both, because the quicker you get to the point where you are happy with who you are, no matter what you look like and no matter what you feel, if you can get to that point quickly, then when you want to make a change from there for the health reasons or for other benefits, you're in a much better mindset to do it. So I'm very proud of your email, Emily. So thank you for that. And you're doing phenomenal work. And so you're right. Once you started tracking, once you started getting serious, you instantly started getting success on the scale. So very proud to see that, 9.8 pounds from your starting weight, 11.4 pounds total doesn't happen by accident. The cool thing about both of those numbers is that you've proven that you can do this. Sure, it's short term, and sure, we're just now starting the journey, and the journey will take some time to get there, but now you have the ability to do it. So go get it done. Love yourself while you're doing it. Good job, Emily. Next up is Cheryl out of Pearland, Texas. She says, "Hi, Mike. I hit my 10% this past week. This is not my first rodeo. I was 6 pounds from goal in December of 2015. January 2016, I lost all complacency and I quit the program by spring. I gained all of my weight back plus more. Jump to fall of 2016, I was diagnosed with stage 2 kidney disease. Doc said to lose weight. Joined back to Weight Watchers just this January, and I've lost almost 20 pounds, and my kidney function is going back up, and that's a good thing. I have found my why. I love the podcast, and I find myself quoting you on Facebook and in my meetings. Thanks for sharing your wise wisdom with the world, Cheryl." Cheryl, first, congrats on that. If you've hit 10%, you can hit goal. You've heard me say that a couple times on this show, is when you get to 10%, we don't give you any new tools. We've now looked at you and said, we gave you the tools in the beginning. You used the tools to lose weight. You persevered through many weekends. To get to 10%, you had to go through a handful of holidays. And you're doing it. So it's just a matter of repeating it. So if you've hit 10%, you can hit goal. Congrats on that. Quitting does not give you anything but a new start date. So as you know, every time we quit the program, if we don't solve the why that made us join in the first place, we will eventually come back. So when you get to your point where you're real close to goal, you have to be mindful. You have to understand that if we don't push forward, if we don't get those last 6 pounds off, if we don't hop on the scale and say, I don't want to lose any more weight, if we never get to that point, it becomes easier and easier to just slowly gain it back. Because you never cement the weight loss in. You never solve it. You never say, I'm done with this version of the program. And so because you've never done that, you don't know what that feeling is. So it's easy to drift away from a weight loss mode to a weight gain mode. But I'm telling you, when you get to goal, it's a little more difficult to drift away from your goal weight because you have a distinct feeling of being at goal that you've never experienced before. So what I want you to do, you said you found your why, and your why is fantastic. I want you to write it down this time. I really do. I want you to grab a pen. I want you to grab a paper. I want you to spend half hour or so. Sit with that pen and paper and draft yourself a story and explain to me kind of what you did in your email, but go into a little more detail on it, because when you now get close to goal, because you're going to get there because you've hit 10%, you're well on your way. But when you get to that point where you're close, where you may have given up before, that's the time to pull this story out and go, oh my God, in the fall of 2016, I was diagnosed with stage 2 kidney disease. I don't want that ever again. At this point, I want to take care of myself the best that I can, whatever that looks like. So I do want you to write it down. You don't need to share it with anybody. You don't need to post anywhere and kind of hide it, but always know where it is and reference it back. So thank you for your email. Thank you for, for quoting me and sharing it on Facebook and in your meetings. Again, I'm honored to work this with you, and I can't wait to hear you hit goals. So, Cheryl, thank you very much for that. Kathy writes in and she says, I went to the doctor yesterday after a little over 2.5 months on Weight Watchers, and I was 13 pounds lighter, 5%. But the exciting news was my cholesterol was down over 70 points. I thank you for being my wingman, because I listen to your podcast at least 6 times a week to help keep me motivated. Your encouraging words keep me thinking, tracking, and moving to attain my goals. Thank you for all you do for both Weight Watchers, but also for the service to our great country, Kathy. Well, Kathy, I'm absolutely honored to do both, right? Part of what I do, what I've always enjoyed, is an opportunity to give back. The fact that I have the ability on this podcast to walk through this journey with you in a verbal sense really does just as much for me as it does for you, because it's what drives me. What drives me is when I find new knowledge and I understand it and I get a true feeling for it. And I want to share that with you so you can feel it as well. Now, when you lost your 5%, you instantly gained some health benefits to that. Your cholesterol was down 70 points. That's incredible. It's got to feel good, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel good knowing that at one point you had some health issues? You took charge of your own life and you reversed them. Now, I remember that feeling as well. And so I know it feels good. And I know it feels good. When I went to my doc in towards the middle of my journey, as I was getting close to goal, I wasn't really quite there yet. But he looked at me and said, you've now regained, roughly 90% of any health benefit you're going to regain by the amount of weight you lost. And that kind of hit me a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I've taken control of my life. So Kathy, that's exactly what you've done, is you've taken control. So 13 pounds is a big deal. I don't care who you are. 13 pounds is hard work. You've continued to get it done. 2.5 months on the plan. You've now made it through many weekends. Whatever you're doing is working. Keep up the great work. I'm honored to do this, and let's get it done. Thank you very much for your email, Kathy. Diane writes in and says, FatDag, I want to thank you for all your encouragement and the time you're spending helping others. I listen to your podcast every day while doing my exercise, biking, hiking, in the gym, or just walking in the neighborhood. I find them so motivating. I've been searching for my why for quite a few months until today it hit me like a boulder. I want my outside to match my inside. I've been through a lot in my 61 years and have overcome many obstacles and personal losses. I am a strong, capable, upbeat person who has proven that she can do anything she puts her mind to, except my outsides just don't reflect that. Run a 5K? I've done that. Do I look like I can do that? Nope, no way. Ride a century on my bike? Yep, I've done that too, many times. Do I look like I could do that? Nope. Are you kidding? Especially standing among such fit cyclists. I could go on, but the bottom line is I don't feel authentic to what I have achieved. I hope that makes sense to you. It's been at the back of my mind for a while, and you finally got me to see that my why has just given me additional motivation to see this journey through. So thank you again for all you do, Diane. Diane, you rock. Let's just start there. You're running a 5K and you've ridden a century on your bike. It doesn't matter what your outside looks like. You're tough. You rock and you're getting it done. And so let's start there and let's just celebrate the fact that again, you rock. I'm just going to end it right there. You rock. So great job there for sure. I'm so glad you found your why. When you find your why, it gives you a different level of motivation. It gives you a sense of something that you can tangibly feel, see, and latch onto. And it's something that when it goes away, you absolutely will know that goes away. When you're standing amongst a group of cyclists and you are as fit as they are, this conversation is gone. That is your goal weight. That is your goal size. And so it's a big deal. And I understand exactly what you say when you said that. In fact, when I read your email, I had to pause for a second the first time I read it because it hit me pretty hard. Because I have a very similar one of my whys, not the big one, but one of them was absolutely that. When I first started, or every time I joined Weight Watchers, but when I first started again on this trend, I needed new running shoes. And so I walked into the running store at 264 pounds and I told the guy I needed running shoes. And he said, well, what kind of running shoes do you need? And I remember telling him, well, I've run half marathons in the past and I'm confident. He probably looked at me and said, sure you have, and that was all me internalizing. I'm sure the guy's a great guy. I'm sure he didn't even think that. He was trying to sell some running shoes. Good on him. But I internalized it. So a lot of these struggles we internalize them. And it's not so much what's really going on in the world. Your cyclist buddies don't care. Your cyclist buddies are proud of you to ride along with them and you're probably lapping them and you're killing it. So they don't care in that sense. It's us that cares. And so I want you to get to the point where you accept it. You own it. You're rocking it, right? Keep doing what you're doing, and go get it done. So again, write your why down. Save this episode as you have. If you got the app, if you got the Wise Advice app, there is an option to save this episode. So at any point you can read back and you can even hear your own email to me and you can play it. So I want you to tap into your why like you have. I want you to never forget your why. And so the only way to do that is to keep it close by. So thank you there for that. Kathy at Santaquin, Utah says, Dear Mike, I just want to thank you for your podcast. Listening to you is like a daily shot of motivation. A mini Weight Watchers meeting every day. This is my third and last time joining Weight Watchers. I've lost 51.2 pounds since rejoining in January, and I still have 60 pounds to go. I teach school, and now that school is out for the summer, it is somewhat difficult for me to establish a new routine. Attending my weekly meetings and your podcast has helped me to keep my focus. I can do hard things. Thank you. Kathy, 51.2 pounds is incredible. 51.2 pounds is proof. 51.2 pounds is proof you know how to work this program. It's absolutely proof that you can get it done. In fact, if you've lost 51.2 pounds, you can lose the other 60. You just do what you've already done. So you understand, you've seen and you've heard that Weight Watchers works. You've heard that the plan works. You've actually seen people who have worked the plan and gotten success. You've actually worked the plan and gotten your own success. You now just need to keep working the plan. You need to keep working the plan until you hop on the scale and you say, I'm done. I no longer want to lose any more weight. I'm happy at this weight. And then you look at the receptionist and say, what's the number? That's my goal weight. Mark it in. So that's what you got to do. Then at that point, you start a whole new journey. You start a whole new journey of maintenance. You start a whole new journey of lifetime, but you never give that feeling back. You never give it back. So I am super proud of you at 51.2 pounds. I understand, the life of a school teacher. I get that concept, and I get that your summer now becomes, our routines, our habits, a lot of times are what save us. They're also the opportunity for us to get off track. So one of the benefits you have is whatever habits and routines that you had last summer probably don't exist this summer. You have the opportunity to reinvent this summer. You have the opportunity to make this summer different than every other summer. You have a clean slate, so start this summer new. Set some attendance goals. Go for a walk every day. Go swimming every day. Do something every single day in the form of an extra movement that you can call an attendance goal. If you just did a little bit every day, you set new habits, then in the summer, next summer when it comes along, when summer comes, I do this. And I bet you a lot of those habits will carry you through the school year as well. So you're doing fantastic work. You absolutely have the ability to get to goal. I'm super proud of you. Thanks for being a school teacher. I got a special place in my heart for school teachers. They're pretty cool people. So thank you for that as well. I want to share a couple things. Operation FatDag is well in effect again. I got an engagement coming up. Go to fatdag.com, click on events. You'll see the list of speaking engagements I have. But Operation FatDag is an opportunity for me to sit in a meeting room with members of the military who are in a place that I was in. They are facing disciplinary action for failing their fitness test, for being overweight. And I get the opportunity to walk in there and let them know it can be done. I open up with saying that I'm not a fitness expert. I'm not a healthy eating coach. I'm an airman. And I'm just like you. And I didn't know what was possible until I started the work in the plan. And I believe now that they can do this. And I believe in them. And then I hand them a letter that you write in, a card that you sent in. I hand them that card and say, not only do I believe in you, but there are people all over the internet who believe in you. It's time for you to believe in yourself. Because when you believe in yourself, you have the ability to get it done. So that's Operation FatDag. Again, go to fatdag.com, click on the Operation FatDag link. You'll get a little more detail there. You'll get the address to send the card in. I'm also speaking this Friday on the 9th of June up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. If you're up in that area, go ahead and stop in. I'd love to see you there. And last but not least, the FatDag app is out. You know that. But there seems to be a little confusion between the FatDag app and listening to the show. So if you are listening to the show somewhere other than the Wise Advice app from the App Store, then take a minute, go to the App Store and get the app. It's a completely new app, and it's the easiest way to listen to the show. I know we're all over the place. We're on Stitcher, we're in Google Play, we're in iTunes, all that good stuff. We're all over the place. But man, the app is kind of cool. So if you don't have the app already, go to your app store, whether it be the Android store or to the Apple store, download the app, and let me know what you think of that. So I want to know what you're celebrating. I want to share it on the air with you. Go to fatdag.com, click on listen now, send in your celebrations, send in your comments, your questions. I'll work them in to the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be proud of what you're doing. I really do. I want you to love yourself. I want you to get to the point where you are completely happy with who you are and what you are. And you're so happy. You love yourself so much that you want to take care of yourself and that you want to be healthier so that you can love yourself for many more years and other people can tag onto that love and tag you in. So that's going to do it for this time. Remember, losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus.